Okay, hello, Kara. Welcome, and we're happy to have you in for an interview today. Let's start out by telling me a little bit about yourself.
Okay, well, some of my background is I work for workforce management. I was with Vidant Health Corporate, where we did budgeting, staffing matrices for units and levels of care. So to make sure with productivity, budget hours per patient day. So I'm familiar with the finance part of the job. And what it means to be budgeted and why it's important to stay budgeted. With the quality side that I've had the experience with over the last 3 years is how to get reimbursements back. So not only are we saving the money that we have, but how to make sure that we keep that ebb and flow going, to make sure that we're cutting back on infections and things like that. I am pretty much the right hand to our nurses in our department. So it's been an interesting ride, interesting experience, but we have great relationships with nurses. And believe it or not, I'm actually very introverted. So although I do realize that I need to come out of my shell, and I do that. I come out of my shell at work because being an introvert, that's not gonna help the team.
I fully understand. I'm
So-
a little bit the same way. You come out when you have to, but when you can, you like to go
You
back
like
in the little shell.
to hibernate in the shell. Yes,
Oh, yeah.
So that's a little bit of my background.
Okay, well, tell us a couple of strengths you have that are going to benefit our company specifically.
Okay. Well, I'm a go-getter. I do not like to wait for opportunities. Although I realize that sometimes you need to wait for those opportunities, the strategy behind it all. But if I find an error in data or in anything that I'm producing, I'm not going to wait for someone to identify it for me to fix it. I'm going to go ahead and fix it before someone identifies it. Also, believe it or not, even though I just shared with you I'm introverted, I'm actually a really good team player. I don't like to dominate teamwork. I feel like everyone should be on an even playing field in teamwork. Even though someone typically usually always takes the leadership role in teamwork, I really believe that everyone should share accolades and projects, that it's not just one person.
Okay, that's a really good answer. If you had to tell me one thing about yourself that was an area that was weak, or something you needed to improve on, what would that be?
Oh, this one's a good one, and I probably shouldn't share this with you, but organization. I'm actually pretty organized considering all the plates that I have spinning, but I still feel like there's probably some area for opportunity there. I have lists on tops of lists sometimes, but amazingly enough, everything still gets done. But I would say probably organization. Our secretary she is like my lifetime goals. She is very organized. Her handwriting is very neat, and I'm over here like.
Okay, all right. Well, tell us about a time you were part of a group.
Okay, so several months ago, we actually worked on a project. Me and 3 other nurses worked on a project. It was a drill down tool for one of our infections, which is reimbursement based. So we want to eliminate our infections, a little bit of background there, to get our reimbursement back from CMS. So I had to work with the nurses because I'm not clinical. I know enough to be dangerous, but I need my nurses. I rely heavily on them as they rely heavily on me because we don't expect them to be the data expert and they don't expect me to be the clinical expert. So teamwork is huge in our department. So we worked in a group. Now, in the beginning, we did have a few hiccups because clinical folks tend to think very gray. Data folks tend to be very black and white, and sometimes it doesn't mesh. I mean, we try to see things from the other side, but you're either yes or you're no, and my nurses are, well, it could either go this way, this way, this way, this way. And I'm like, all right, one or the other. But as we got over that hiccup and we really tried to learn what each of our needs were in the group, we actually became this great cohesive team, and pretty much my role was just executing their vision. They had great vision, and with their guidance, I was able to execute, and it actually turned out to be a great drill down tool that many of the managers are very thrilled with, because we're trying to go away from paper, and so it's great. That was a great experience with teamwork.
Okay, all right. Well, that sounds good. And that's a good transition into my next question. It's would you consider yourself to be a leader or a follower?
Well, I'm a leader. Actually, this is probably a good opportunity too. I could be a better follower, although I do realize when it's time to step down. But in the data world, when a decimal point matters, just something as simple as a decimal point can matter depending on its platform. And sometimes you can't take a back seat to those types of reportings. You have to step up and sometimes take the bull by the horn and say, hey, I know you said this, but I need you to hear me with that. So I would say I am a leader. I do know when to follow, but I would say I know when to step up when I need to step up.
Okay. All right. Tell us what you think your last supervisor would say about you if I were to call that person.
Well, interestingly enough, because I told you I was introverted earlier, I should probably tell you I was very effervescent, because I don't like negativity. Negativity just slows everyone down. It slows productivity down. I mean, there's really just no need to be negative. So I always try to be positive. If I hear anything negative going on, I'm just like, guys, tomorrow's a new day. Tomorrow's a new day. Take opportunity for a new day. Also, too, with being a go-getter, I get it done. Even though I could do better with my organization skills, I still get it done. It still gets done. It's still great, 100% work. And I produce.
Okay. All right. How would you describe your work style?
Well, work style for a data person, this is actually relatively normal for a data person, even though someone who's not data may freak out with this. It's very roller coaster like. Up and down, up and down. It depends on how many rabbit holes you enter into the data, because when you're peeling back layers of the onion, you're all over the place. So that's actually kind of a normal day for a data person. Not to scare you or anything with the roller coaster terminology.
Okay. Tell us about a time you had to meet a deadline.
Well, that's actually a great question. I have to meet deadlines every day. Sometimes deadlines fall in my lap. A great example is just yesterday my VP came into the office and she says, hey, these numbers are wrong and I need you to figure out why by the end of the day. Yes, ma'am. And we found out by the end of the day, but the priorities had to shift because we had that deadline that had to be met that just sat in your lap. And then you have the general deadlines of where you have 2 weeks to complete the project and you have to just work steady to get it completed. There's several varieties of deadlines that have to get met in the quality world.
Oh, yeah. Now for the kicker. Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, 10 years, that'll go by really fast, but, I think I would like to teach college level, not grade school level, and that just seems very taxing and challenging on...
A lot of red tape involved.
Yeah, and it would probably weigh on my heart. I'd probably take that home more than I would the current job that I take home. But college, maybe teaching math or statistics. I have a knack for it. It's fun for me. It's challenging, and just maybe try to make it exciting for other kids.
That sounds like that's a really good answer. Is there anything else you'd like to tell me before we close our interview?
Well, I'm amazing.
Well, I believe I'm going to have to agree with you on that. So it sounds like you're a really good team player, and that you really know your field well. So
I feel like, well, with my background with finance and quality, that would make a great cohesive combination for the director role. And I think I have a lot to offer. New, fresh set of eyes, see things a little differently through new goggles there, and take things forward.
Okay, well, I agree. So we're running short on time now, so we'll need to close the interview, but I look forward to speaking with you again in the future real soon.
Perfect.
All right.
Thanks.
Mhm.